Hey there, my name's Brad. I'm the Harley Davidson Wizard. Today I figured I'd bring you around. I'm going to be installing a Whim module, the wireless headset interface module, on a 2020 Road Glide Special. I already have the parts laid out on the table here, so let's take a look at what we have, and then we're going to be installing it on the motorcycle. Here are the components that we have to install on the bike today. I already unboxed everything, but this is the Whim module itself. It's part number 76000-768. It has the Whim module itself, the wiring harness. If you have a 14 through 17 model, you're going to have to purchase another or a different adapter separately. But it comes with both brackets for whether you have a Road Glide or an Electric Glide model. Obviously the instructions. And then for the actual wireless headsets, we have a set of Boom Audio 30K units. It's part number 76000-840, and it is both wireless headsets. So the first thing that I do is I unbox everything, make sure that I have all the right stuff. Then I update the headsets because the software is updatable through the Harley Davidson website for the headsets, and also the Whim module, and also the radio that's on the motorcycle. It has the GTS radio, but first thing that you do before I start working on the motorcycle, this is the way I do it. And if you haven't done this before, you have to download the software update tool, and it's right here in the instructions. It tells you to go to harleydavidson.com, and then there's a software downloads where even just the normal customer, it's all set up so that the customer can just do it yourself at home. Alright, so what you do, you start out, you go to the internet, you go to, like I was saying, harleydavidson.com, and this is it's just the normal website that that anybody can go to. You scroll down to the bottom, at least that's the way I do it, and then right in the center it will say software updates, and then you will scroll down and then you can click whatever it is. So like I was saying, we're going to update the Bluetooth headsets and the Whim module. That's done through this utility, and then I'm also going to update the radio and make sure that it has the most up-to-date calibration. And then we will also plug the motorcycle into the tool here at the Harley Davidson dealership and enable the Whim feature on the radio. So I've already downloaded this, and you put it on a SD card, which I did in here, and then you put it into the motorcycle, and then it updates the radio. So we have the latest software in the radio. And then we come and click the wireless headset. Then you'll want to select which headset unit that you have, and it will download the update utility. I've already done that. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to grab the headsets and I'm going to plug it in. Let's get going. When you buy the headset kit, it automatically comes with the USB cords that plug into the headsets. I plug them into the wall and make sure that they're fully charged, just because. I don't think that's really necessary, but at least for this step. But they're fully charged and they're plugged into the computer. So where I have the utility is right over here. It says Boom Audio Bluetooth Device Manager. Double click that, select yes. And it's kind of confusing. This utility is a bit of a pain in the butt. You just click next, and then it's going to connect to the headset. This one already has the latest. Up here it tells you what unit is connected. This one already had, like it shows, Boom Audio 30K version 2.2, and then it says the latest version is version 2.2. So I already updated one of them, and I must have just plugged in the same one that I already updated. Let's grab the other one. Grab the other headset. Plug it in. Open the Bluetooth manager. Select yes. Click next. Click next. All right. So here, this is how the headset came out of the box. So it says that there's new firmware available. Would you like to download it from the server? You're going to click yes. All right, so we're going to save it. I'm just going to replace it just to make it easier so it already knows the file path and all that business. I'm not a computer genius, so don't look at me for technical help. So it's going to download it, and then it's just going to replace that file. And then we'll come back when it's done. Now that the headset has already gone through the firmware update, now we can see that at the top it says Boom Audio 30K version 2.2. And as in the last 3 minutes, the software hasn't changed. It's still version 2.2. So both of the headsets are already up to date. Like I was saying, I already did the software update for the radio, from the Harley Davidson website. So now we are ready to install the Whim on the vehicle. We will update the Whim software after it's installed on the bike. And then we will also update the radio software using the digital tech here. So let me show you how the installation goes of the Whim on a 2020 Road Glide Special. We have the things updated that we're able to at this time. I like to do that right from the get-go because it takes a long time to update these things. It doesn't just take like 3 seconds. It probably takes like 10 minutes. And then if you haven't already downloaded the installing tool from the Harley Davidson website, it's going to take you longer. So I try to do this stuff while I'm working on other motorcycles because this job doesn't pay a whole lot and we got other projects to do. So I was doing this while working on a different motorcycle, but now we have the real bike in that we're going to be installing this Whim on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a protective covering on the front fender so when we're working inside the fairing, nothing scuffs the front fender. We're going to remove both saddlebags and the seat. I'm going to depressurize the fuel line by unplugging the fuel tank and starting the motorcycle up and letting it run the fuel pressure out of the fuel line. Then I'm going to come down here to the quick disconnect the fuel line and the 2 other hoses that are under the seat. Remove the bolts for that, and I'll bring you back for removing the fairing, and then we'll get to installing this Whim. Now that we have everything off the motorcycle, other than the fairing, the only tools that we've needed to this point is a 1/2-inch socket to remove the 4 screws for the gas tank, and a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the seat screw and the seat straps screw. When we move up to the fairing, we're going to need a few more tools. Here's what we're going to need. We're going to need this 1/8-inch Allen bit. We're going to need this T25 Torx bit. Also a 3/16 Allen bit. Also a 30 Torx bit. And those are going to be the hardware that we need to remove the windshield screws here. In behind here is another screw for the fairing. There's a clip here and I believe a clip here-ish that hold this in, along with like an elbow that fits behind this edge. So you want to start down in this corner and just kind of grip it with your hand. A lot of times you can like work your way around to the edge and then pull one edge up and then pop the bottom out, and then the whole speaker grill assembly will pop right out. Here you can see the retainment tab maybe that we were talking about. So yeah, you pull in either of these corners, pop one end up, pop the other end, and then pull it out. Here's a T30 torque screw. And then we just need to pull the lower screw here. We can leave the top one in place, and that will keep this little air deflector on the vehicle, along with this screw down here for the turn signal. The first thing that we need to do is remove the 4 screws for the windshield. Take the windshield off, along with this top cowling. That will come up. There's going to be a connector for the left-hand turn signal, a connector for the right-hand turn signal. And then the way I like to do it, I like to take the screws out for the turn signals, then take the screws out for the lower air deflector, and then I loosen up one screw here for the speaker housing, and then I leave the other screw. Actually, the other screw I'll take out, because if you take all the screws off the fairing, it can just like fall down. So I like to leave one screw in, and then that way while I'm holding the front end of the fairing, it's very light, but while I'm holding it, I can take the other screw out and safely remove it. So let's get to doing that. So now that we have the fairing removed, we are literally ready to put the Whim module on. On this Road Glide model, it's going to fit in this little cubby right down here. We've already read the instructions, and I've done this before, but it will fit down in this cubby. And then it has a long cord on it, which ultimately you plug into a computer through a USB cord, and that's how you update the Whim. The instructions tell you to run it down the right side of the neck. So I'm going to take you way up in there, and I'm going to run it right through here, along all of these lines, tucked up into the main wiring harness for the backbone. And then it wants you to run it down out of the wire caddy and essentially be dangling right here. A lot of people that I install this for, they have special placements that they like the connector to be, mainly closer up in the fairing, but this is the way the instructions say for it to be done. So when the customer goes to update this thing in the future, if he should or whatever, he will be expecting to find it down here. So that's where we're putting it. So let's get going on that. We've already read the instructions. It tells us that we are going to be using this bracket. We're going to attach it to, oh, you're out of focus. We're going to be using this bracket, attaching it to the Whim and torquing the screws down to 35 inch-pounds. And then we're going to be using these screws to attach this bracket to the fairing bracket. And that I'll do at 90 inch-pounds. So let's get going on that, and I'll bring you back. So now that we have the Whim installed, I don't know if you can tell, but I just kind of pulled the wiring off to the side, slid it up in there. There's a little clip on the front side of it, and then just one screw with a little bit of Loctite on there, torqued down to hold it in. So let me show you the wiring harness that it comes with. For this particular year, it comes with the correct wiring harness. This is it. This will plug into the Whim, and this will plug into a matching gray connector. And then this is the very long cord that goes all the way back to the right side cover. So let's get that started. I don't know if you saw it a little bit earlier, but this little bracket assembly fits right about here. And then the headlight has 4 screws on it with an electrical connector. So I just pulled that out. This front black connector is for a CB radio if you have CB installed. And on the back side of it, there's the gray connector that our new Whim module is going to plug into. So I'm going to run the wiring. It's probably going to be hard to tell, but there's I don't know if you can see my finger. There's a little pass through back here. And I'm going to run just enough wiring to come out to the front and plug into the gray connector. And then plug in the Whim module and tuck any of the extra wiring back there. And then for the USB cord, it's going to come down, go through this little passageway where the rest of the wiring harness comes up. But we're going to follow that back down along the side of the frame, up into the main wiring channel, and then kind of down around where the right side cover is. So let's get going on that. All right, so we're back. We just got our line all ran through the main harness and down under the side cover. Let's see if I can give you a better view of what we did. So here is the screw for the Whim module. Like I said, the wiring harness, any extra is tucked up in there. You want to be really careful when you go to put the headlight back in. It has like a couple little tabs that need to fit in with the air deflectors on both sides, along with you don't want any kind of wiring to drop through the backside and get pinched and caught up in behind the screws and the little brackets. But everything's all good and tightened down there. And then we ran the wiring down along the side. You can see it's this back wire here. I like to tuck extra wiring in behind factory stuff so you don't see it as much. This zip tie was already here, so I just cut it off and then put our wire behind it. You can see it right there. And then put a new zip tie. It runs into the main wiring harness conduit. So it's all good and protected. And then we got our brake lines back in place. We got our zip tie back here. It's an important one to have in this location. I forgot, I gotta put this piece back in here. But it comes out in the back of the wiring conduit. There was a little bit of extra, so I just put a little looper in it and then zip tied it to the wiring harness that rolls down into this ABS module. That way, our connector is all ready to be plugged into our computer. We'll be able to do the update through our computer, the exact same update tool that we used with a headset. So let's get going on that. So with the vehicle off and no USB cord connected, we're going to go over to the Boom Audio update utility. Click yes. Click next. And it says with the Whim, connect the Whim to your PC using the supplied USB cable. If you've already connected it, disconnect it and reconnect it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the USB cable, plug it into the computer, plug it into the Whim. We're going to wait for things to happen. And if things don't happen automatically in like 3 minutes, restart your computer and it will automatically pick up the Whim. Alright, so we did that, we waited like a minute, and then we click next. New firmware is now available. Would you like to download it from the server? We're going to click yes. See, our current version is 1.14 and the new version is 1.14, like 1.14. So we're going to click yes. We're going to save it to the desktop so that when I'm done with it, I'm going to delete it. We're going to do the update, and while that's happening, I'm going to put the rest of the fairing back together because we're well on our way to being done with this. It says that the firmware updated successfully. That's excellent. So now we're just done. We're going to click the X. We're all set with the computer. We're going to unplug the Whim from its little update port. We're going to get the rest of the fairing on, the gas tank, this right side cover, and the right saddlebag. And then I'll show you what we do with the digital tech to put the calibration in the radio. Let's get going on that. Alright, so you can tell at this point we have the fairing on, everything there. The gas tank's on, the seat, the right side cover, the right saddlebag. Everything's together. This is the point that you can do, you know, this is the part that you can do at home, basically the whole deal. The only thing that we have left to do is to plug our Harley Davidson specific tool, the digital tech, into the TechLink port. So the important thing is that we have everything plugged together that's supposed to be plugged in, so the vehicle is fully functioning. And then I come over here to the digital tech. This is going to be hard to see. I've already input the vehicle information. Then I come over here to the toolbox. Make sure that there aren't any current codes with the vehicle. Come over here to historic. Clear anything that would have popped up from us unplugging and plugging things together. So all the codes are cleared. Then I come over here to our download tab. And then we're going to go to the very bottom down here to radio. Select that. Select OK. And then it's going to give us our configuration. Everything's good there. Just double checking. Nothing's crazy. At the very last tab, communications, it says Whim. We're going to enable. And click OK. Double check that everything's cool there, which it is. Select OK. That's it. Now I'm going to enter the work order number, 75995. Alright. And then here at the very end, I get just a double check that originally the option, I don't know if you can see, but it says before recalibration at the top, Whim disabled. After calibration, Whim enabled. And click OK. Bing, bang, boom. That's done. Now all we have to do is come over to the vehicle, switch it to off. I'm going to unplug the digital tech. The vehicle is done now. Now I'm going to put the side cover and the saddlebag on. I'm going to let it chill for at least 20 seconds. And then, since we already have the headsets that are all charged up, I'm going to connect them to the radio and try it out. And then we're all buttoned up. We've paired up the headsets with the radio and made sure that everything works. I think this is probably a decent idea, since a lot of people are either old or not very good with technology. So I'll pull them out, pair them, make sure everything works, put them back in here. This one's already paired for the rider, that one's already paired for the passenger. It's got all of its goods and guts down there. And then I just slide this guy back in here. Make it look real easy, right? I'm joking. Alright. Then that's all set. Move that over. Any extra parts are in there, that fit Electroglide models. The headsets are already paired, all ready to go. That way there's not that much for the customer to do. This thing's all ready to go home, and the customer is ready to try it out. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye.